Hey, it's me again. Yeah, this one, unfortunately, I know for certain right off the bat is going to be a long one. I'll try not to make it too long and get to the point. First, forgive me for the way that I look. I just got back from a long, hot walk because I decided to go when it's 15 million degrees outside. This is why I love the winter. But yes, I had to share because something just happened, and then I realized, well, it's a reflection of everything that's been happening over the last couple of weeks. So again, being transparent because I want you to know your walk with God. It is better with Him than without Him. I tell you, 41 years of experience without Him compared to the last, I'm getting ready to turn 44, 3 years. Not good at math sometimes. I can definitely tell you that the last 3 years have been a whole lot better than 41. So, yes, you are going to have trials and tribulations. You're going to have hard times. That's what life's all about. But being able to call on Him and getting that peace in the times when you feel like everything's falling apart and your heart is breaking, I promise you until you experience it, you just, what is that? If you know, you know. Unfortunately, you've got to experience it, but you got to give Him the chance. And He, again, as I know I've said before, He's a gentleman. He will knock. He will not bust His way in. You've got to open the door and let Him in. So saying all that, so my last post, I think I was, okay, unfortunately I don't remember, so I'm just going to start from what I remember. If I repeat something, I'm sorry. So I was struggling again, because that's unfortunately what happens when you're being broken and restored and healed and refined and polished and pruned and all those words that I can't remember at the moment. But when all that is done, the way that you feel, I mean, I just, like today, the last 2 days, I have just sat back and looked at absolutely everything that I was and who I was and where I'm at and who I am now. And just like talking to my mom, and every time I talk to my mom, it always goes back to my childhood and she always apologizes for it. And today I think was the first time I was able to tell her, Mom, I mean, I've told her before, don't worry about it, it's the past, blah, blah, blah. But today, I think was the first time I said, Mom, don't ever say it again. I said, there is absolutely nothing. What happened in the past put me where I'm at today. And I said, God's already told me, one, I'm healed from it. I mean, that's said, done. But God's already told me that with everything that I've been through, that there's so many people out there that I can reach. And definitely what's been repeated over and over, and I have been repeating over and over to myself, what you're going through is not about you. It's about what you're going through so you can help someone else. And I have heard many people say it, and I finally got it in my head and did it. That while you're going through something and you can't get out of it, look to see and ask, what am I supposed to be learning? What am I supposed to be getting out of this? When you get that message, when you get to that spot and you finally hear what God's trying to tell you or gather what God's trying to tell you, then you'll move on to the next, and you'll get to that promised land. And I feel like I am outside the gates. Hallelujah. So anyway, 2 weeks ago, Thursday and Friday, I was down. I was, I mean, not in a bad place, but I was just like, God, I don't understand. Again, nothing's happening. I'm not seeing anything. And again, yes, that's where I stand. And then, yes, I know in my head, and I'll repeat, I know you know better. Yes, I want it your way, blah, 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 blah. Go through the same things over and over. And I was just like, God, just show me something. And I remembered a sermon that my associate pastor gave when he was in revival. And he said, it was, I don't remember the whole sermon, but the part that I remembered at the time was, if you need to ask God to reaffirm your promise, be like, God, is everything where it's supposed to be? Has anything changed? And there's more to it, and I'm sorry I'm taking it out of context, but that's the part that came to me. And I was like, okay. So I asked. And so there was something that happened, and I was like, oh, okay, God, do I take this as you? Or do I take this as, and I was like, well, I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in happenstance. And I know when you block things because that's what's been happening. So how all of a sudden after I prayed this, do you answer, or does this happen? I said, it has to be an answer from you. Well, unfortunately, like me, I started overthinking, as I tend to do. And then I was like, no, God, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to believe it. I'm going to believe it until you tell me different. It's your responsibility, because every day I ask for correction, instruction, direction, and it's up to you to correct me. And so I'm leaving it in your hands. I'm trusting you. So here comes Saturday, and Saturday I wake up and I'm in a great mood and all this. And then I am somewhere and I am with someone that is of the faith. And I just was like, let me ask. And so I asked the question. I said, do you think that God provides signs or things of encouragement, whether it's somebody saying something, whether it's a Bible verse or scripture, something like that, or something to happen to give you encouragement to keep on wanting your promise, to keep on reaching for your promise, because you have not really fought for a promise until you've got to that point of, God, I don't even want it anymore. Just take it away. And I have been there. Too many times I have been there. But there's always something that seems to happen that brings me back. And then, of course, I'm like, well, God, did you bring me back, or is it me? And then I'm like, no, my flesh doesn't want this. My flesh doesn't want to deal with this anymore. It's my spirit that keeps fighting it. Like, there's something that's going to happen. There's something of God that's got to happen from this. You've got to hold on. It's not about you. So, anyway, so I asked, and without going in through a lot of stuff, and yes, he had scripture to back it up, and yes, I trust him, but it destroyed me. At the end of that conversation, the rest of Saturday, it destroyed me. I took my daughter to her dad's to spend some time, and I came home and I cried and I prayed. And I called out, and I'm like, God, I don't want to not be strong in my faith. I don't want to be wavering. I don't want to be double-minded, because you hate that. And I know I've got roots because I'm not who I was, and things are different now. But for some reason, it knocked the wind out of me. So as what tends to happen is I took a nap in the middle of praying. And so I wake up and I'm at peace. And so I pray a little bit more, and I'm like, okay, God, and the scripture that came to mind is, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Everybody's walk is not the same. Everybody's belief is truthfully not going to be the same. There's things that we got different denominations, but you still, like in my church, we do have similar values, but my walk is not the same as each person that's in my church. There's some of us that are in the same kind of area, and there's some of us that aren't. It doesn't make me any better. It doesn't make them any better. It just means we're in different stages. I've been through different things in my life that I can reach different people, and God can use me in different ways than someone else. And so I was like, okay, well then this was all like a download. It was just like boom, and that was everything that I was thinking. So I was like, okay. And there was somebody that I heard actually on TikTok, and he said, whatever the last thing that you remember God telling you to do, whatever the last instruction of God telling you to do, that's what you need to do, because maybe you didn't obey. And I was like, okay. So I sat there and I went through my mind, and the last thing I remember him telling me is to worship. Worship and praise. Those were the two words that I remembered. And I was like, well, I did do that after you said that, but of course I did it for a certain period of time and kind of stopped, because then other things started happening. Not giving excuses, but that's what happened. Life. So I was like, okay, well, it was perfect, because this weekend, or not this weekend, but the weekend that this happened, 3 nights, I had 3 chances of going and listening to singing. Gospel singing, and Friday was awesome. There was 6 groups, I think, and I let go of everything. And then Saturday was definitely right on time, and there's a song that this group sings, and it says, and it gets me every time. Faith sees it first, and it's by the Powell family. I mean, they sing it. I don't know who originally sings it, but I love that song. And it's, yes, your faith has to see it first before anything can catch up to it. So anyway, it was right on time the whole weekend. It was a great weekend. And I felt better. And then things started happening. And then I had a dream that I was standing in a parking lot, because I feel like God speaks to me through dreams. And believe me, I pray and ask for revelation. And this dream, I had water not coming out of me, but coming from beside me. Coming from down below, and it went straight up, and then it came back down on me, just like a stream of water. And then there was a stream of water that came from beside me, went out, and in my mind, in the dream, I'm thinking it went around the world and came back to me. And then all of a sudden, I see this huge wave coming at me. And I'm not scared. I'm not hurt. None of that stuff. And then 2 days later, I get another dream, and I'm sitting in a church. In the dream, I don't know if it was my church or not. And there's a leak coming from the ceiling. And I'm like, well, I better move, because I don't want this to get on me, because I was dressed for church. There wasn't a lot of people that were in there. And when I start walking away, there's some small windows that were off to my right. And you could see a wave that was coming and came in through the windows. And I woke up before it hit me. So I was like, okay, repetitive dreams. Joseph had repetitive dreams. Nebuchadnezzar had repetitive dreams. I was like, okay, what are you trying to tell me, God? I'm listening. And I heard him say, blessings. I'm going to have blessings from above. I'm going to have blessings from man. And there's going to be a wave of blessings. I was like, okay, I'll just sit here and wait for it. And of course, I prayed for the things that I wanted. And the things that I've been praying for. And then, of course, small things have been coming along. And one of them was with my job. Last year, around this time, I used up all my sick and my vacation time at work and was still missing work. To the point to where they told me I can't even make up my time anymore. I had missed so much time. I had a torn MCL. So it hurt to walk. I was on crutches. I was on a walker. And I had fluid around my heart that was causing breathing problems. That was causing my knees and legs to swell, my feet to swell. That was painful, aggravating anyway. And of course, walking was hard too, because I couldn't breathe. It was the fluid or whatever was causing that. So, and then it seemed like I kept catching everything. My daughter kept catching everything. It was just sickness after sickness after sickness, something after something after something. I was like, God, what is going on? And then I was thinking about it. My job that I'm very, very thankful for did not let me go. They had every reason they could have let me go. So instead of letting me go, because yes, I was not reliable, they kind of created a position for me to where I wasn't doing what I was doing, to where you have to meet numbers, and make profit. And it was just kind of like helping out wherever I could help out. And so for a while, I was just like, I'm not really doing anything. Well, then my company got bought out. And it was like, for a little bit I got scared and I got anxious. And it was like, God, you're doing something. Okay, I'm along for the ride. Just please don't let me miss a paycheck. So then it was a thought of mine, and I was like, you know what? They're not going to see my numbers. If they look at numbers, they're not going to see my numbers. It's the same type of company. They do the same thing. And I was like, they're not going to see my numbers because I don't have any numbers. I said, I'm going to be first to go. I mean, why would they keep me? So I kept holding on to God. I'm like, whatever you want, whatever you want. So my, former boss comes up to me and she says, the new company wants somebody to come over. And she said, I'm going to give them your name. And I was like, okay. Well, I was hesitant. I was a little scared, but I was like, okay. And so I get over there. And the exact job I am doing is what I have been doing with my old company for the past year. God knew what was coming, and he had me doing and preparing me for what I was going to be doing in my new job. I just was like, you got to be kidding me. So, I mean, it was just something I had worried about, and God had already taken care of it. He was already preparing me. And I sat here and all this worrying. And from me going to therapy so many years, hearing the same thing, your what ifs, most of what you worry about with the what ifs, they don't even happen. I don't remember percentages or whatever. So you worry for no reason. And I mean, everything that God was put me through was planning me for where I was going to be. So my somebody had told me that my name would be in other people's mouths, people I didn't know. And so they asked me this week and they said, did you do this particular thing in your old job? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, well, we don't know how to do that. We have one person that knows how to do that, and they're going on vacation. Would you be willing to cover for them? I was like, yes, of course. And that just put me further into making sure I've got job security. And then turned around, and today, and they brought over one other girl with me, and we're sitting there talking before one of our training meetings, and she tells, we're in different departments with different people that we deal with, and she tells me that her boss, she said something along the lines of, my boss, who knows about you. And I mean, I didn't get the chance to ask her anything, but I was like, how do these people know me? And I was like, that's nothing but you. God, that is nothing but you. So, yes, my praise and my worship has been strong and so much. So let's come to today. And let me give you a quick recap. I went to school. I got student loans. Yes, they were my loans. I take responsibility for them. No matter what happened, I did it. They're mine. They were my responsibility. I paid very minimum on them. Thank the Lord for that for the longest time. But then turned around and I get a notification, or somebody says something to me about student loan forgiveness, and I'm like, well, I don't qualify for anything. And then I see this long thing about borrower's defense, and so I read it, and I was like, well, it kind of pertains to me. So I went and was like, I'll fill out the application. Before I could even get to the application, I get an email the next morning or the next day telling me it's already done. My loans are forgiven. I didn't even have to do the work. And I tell people, it's like, God didn't even answer the prayer for me. He put me at the front of the line. So, I got excited about that. And then I was somewhere else I was going with that. So anyway, oh, yeah, so coming up, and I was like, God, review. I was like, start me over. I want to start fresh. If you just start me fresh and put me, let me get my life right. And he had me, I had it to where things happen, and I changed my name. You'll have to go see the video about that. Changed me back to my maiden name and was starting everything fresh. And that was one of the things, was wiping that clean. One of the things that it said was, the last letter that I got, it said that my loans were forgiven, and that I would possibly get a refund for what I have paid, and that it would fall off my credit report. Well, I've been checking every day for it to fall off my credit report, because I want to get a house, and I can't, because it's showing my debt income ratio, whatever the crap all that is not working. So I'm like, well, if that falls off, and it seems like loan companies are saying if that falls off, I got a great chance. So through all this, I come to this weekend, and I got a little down because I had to renew my lease. And I was like, God, I thought we were doing the house thing. And I prayed on it, and I literally waited until the very last day, because I was like, God's going to come through, God's going to come through, God's going to come through. And I heard him say, do you not think I can get you out of a lease? So I signed a lease happily and went on. But with everything I had to pay for, because I had to get my dogs vaccinated, and I had to pay for them to get a pet screening, and I had to do all this other kind of stuff. And so my income was not where it needed to be for me to pay rent, which is due on the 5th. Well, actually, it was due yesterday, but you got 5-day grace period. And I was like, I can't meet rent, Lord. You are going to have to do something. I can't meet rent. I brought up everything that had, yes, there are ways that I blow money and things I shouldn't be spending it on. But I was like, God, every time I gave, I was like, God, I don't have this money, but I'm giving it. Please let it multiply for them, but please make sure that I have for my bills. And I sat there today, and I was figuring it up, and I'm like, God, what can I do? Because I am not going to make this rent on the 5th. And my paycheck doesn't come out until next Thursday. And I said, I can ask and they'll let me go. I know they will. But I don't want to ask because then it adds another percentage for late fee. And then it puts a mark on my credit because it reports to the credit bureau, because that's what I wanted to help with my credit. And I heard, wait till Monday. That's okay. Wait till Monday. So I go out, take my dog for a walk, and I come back. And I was like, I really don't feel like cooking. It was like, my daughter's not here. What can I do? And I was like, what do I really want to eat? And so I was like, well, let me see how much I have, if I've got enough for that. I don't want to use a credit card, blah, 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 blah. I open up my banking account. There was a deposit from the Department of Education for the refund of everything I paid for my student loans. If you don't talk about an on-time God, I don't know what to say. Oh. But to say this, of all the times, he gets all the glory, because it was not because of me. It was not because of me. Sorry, I keep getting notifications because I ordered something from DoorDash. To say all that, just last year, I uttered the words to so many people. I see no end. I see no light at the end of the tunnel. I see no sunshine through the rain. I said so many times that the world is against me, and there was times I even was like, God's against me. It's gotta be, because this is making no sense to me. My God, and I've even said it too. Let me just be transparent. God, I am serving you. I am being faithful. I am showing up. I'm going to church when I can. If I can't, I'm watching on TV. I'm trying to do right, and I can't do anything because of my knee. I can't do anything because of the swelling. I can't do anything because of my heart. I never know if I need to go to the ER because I get this weird feeling in my chest. And I mean, you're talking about a long time of things said like that. And I'm talking about months. Half a year. To exactly a year later. Exactly a year later. Look at my life. Blessings are raining down. So hold on. Hold on. At any time that you feel like you can't, keep pushing. I've been there. Keep pushing. He's listening even if you don't hear him. And I don't mean audibly. You're going to hear him by, as Paul said, a pressing on your spirit. You're going to know when it's him. You will know. You don't have to question. You will know. And you keep going. He doesn't want you to give up. He's got things for you, and he's got great things for you. And when you're down in that valley, I promise you the mountain is not too far away. He is there. He will give you that peace. My grace is sufficient. That's what keeps coming to my mind right now. And that's what he kept telling me. My grace is sufficient. My grace is sufficient. And I didn't understand that until I finally realized, yes, because that's what got me through every single day, every single step. When you have those moments of calling out to him and yelling, do it. Do it. He already knows you're mad. He already knows you're frustrated. Do it. But when you're done, you stop for a minute and you say, God, I love you. And you apologize. Because there's plenty of times it was like, God, I apologize for the way I said it. But you know what my words are. You know I'm frustrated. You know I'm mad. And it draws you closer. It draws you closer to him. And that's what he wants. And I promise you, that's what you want. Because on that other side, you've got to experience it. Taste the Lord and see that he is good. Just get a little bit. Just get a little bit of a feel. Feel his love. Feel his blessings. Just get a little bit of it. Just experience a little bit of it. And I promise you, and every day I pray, God, let me see you. God, let me see you move. Let me see you do something. And I pray every day for my miracles and know they haven't come yet. And I don't know why. But I keep showing up. And just like every time that I get down, he's pulling me back in and pulling me back in. And I pray you don't have snot. But please keep holding on. Keep holding on. And I'll keep coming on here and sharing. And I've been there too. You want to be happy for somebody, but you're also, and be honest, jealous. And when people would give praise reports in church and testimonies, I would get jealous because I'm like, God, it's happening for them and nothing's happening for me. Yes, I was happy for them, but it's like I couldn't be fully happy for them because I was being selfish. I was worried about me. So I promise you that day is coming. That day will be here. Mark today, put it somewhere, and come back and check it on the day when you realize you are past everything. You're growing no matter what. And there's a song I keep singing over and over. You're in the middle of a miracle. Emerson Drive, I think, is who sings it. Your roots, under your feet, your roots are taking hold. I've got roots. And you're growing yours too. Keep holding on. And I pray this blesses somebody. And I pray that you join in. You join in my happiness because I always need people on my side. I love you.